Hi, in part 4 we're going to look at another WordPress security plugin. This one that we're going to look at today, All-in-One WP Security, is a relative newcomer in the security plugin area, but well supported and is quite easy to use. Before we get to that though, I thought it'd be worth just looking at plugins in general and things that you can look for to see whether a plugin is suitable or not. Now, one specific one that I'll pick on, because it gets mentioned quite a bit as far as security goes, is WordPress Firewall. Now note this here, this plugin hasn't been updated in over 2 years. That's a bad thing. If you're going to install plugins, you want to know that they're regularly updated, because just as WordPress has security updates and bug fixes and things, obviously so do plugins. So this one says, requires 2.61 or higher, compatible up to 3.0.5. Well, WordPress now is up to 3.5.2. This one hasn't been updated since 2010, so it's a long time ago. It had about 100,000 downloads. So that's something just to be careful of. If you compare that, for instance, to WordFence, which is another security plugin that we use, you'll see that it's last updated 19th of the 7th, so this month, 662,000 downloads, and the reports to a good 541 give it 5 stars and only 14 give it 1. Now I usually look at the 1-star ratings to see what they're about, and quite often it's things like clashes with other plugins. They're problems that aren't general, and when you see this many good reviews as opposed to so few bad ones, then you're pretty safe with installing that particular plugin. Now the one that we're going to install, as I said, is All-in-One WP Security. So let's go through that now. All-in-One, there it is, WP Security. So if you just type in that much, All-in-One WP Security, and do a search, it'll come up as the top one. Now you can have a look at the details, obviously. Being fairly new, this doesn't have as many downloads as some of the others. It's got 14,000, but see, it last updated 4 days ago, and we can't see it from here, but in the support area, the different problems that people have reported have nearly all been resolved. So that too is a good thing. So let's install that one and activate it. And once that's done, now I saw that this is the second time I've installed that. It just says, if you notice, header's already sent messages, try deactivating or removing. This didn't cause me any issues though, and I'm sure it's something that they'll sort out soon. As you can see, it has been installed, and the very first thing we do is click on it, and that takes us to the dashboard. So it shows us that total achievable point to 260, and we have a current score of just 5, so I think we better fix that. So let's start just with the settings, and these are the different things that you can do. You can back up your database, which I'd always suggest that you do if you're installing any sort of plugin, the security plugin. Check this if you want the system to automatically generate backups periodically. So I'm going to do that once a month. It'll back up, it'll keep 2 backup files, and it'll send me an email. So let's save that, and I now have 20 out of 20 points there. I can tell it to create a DB backup now, which it's also done. So this is where we're going to get our points, is going through these various things and fixing them up. So let's go back to settings and HT access file. So I'm just going to work my way through. We'll back up the HT access. It tells you a bit about it successfully backed up. Right click on the following file name to save it to your computer. I've already got a backup, so that's alright. I don't want to restore, and this is just telling me what's in my HT access file. WP config. Again, you can back that up, and it shows what's in your config file down here. So we don't need to do that at the moment. We're looking for things with points. So WP meta info. We want to do this. What it does is it removes this line here that tells the bad people what version of WordPress we're running. So we tick that box and save it. And once again, we've now got 5 out of 5. So let's move on to the next section, which is user accounts. So the actual username, and it's telling me that I do have a user called admin. So let's change that, and we'll make it sysadmin, and change that one. And it's logged me out, so now I have to log back in. We'll just pause it while I do that. Okay, so I've logged back in, and as you can see now, the change admin username, we've got 15 points on that one. The display name, modify accounts with identical login name, I don't have that, so I've already got 5 out of 5. And the password, well, you don't get points for that, but this is pretty good. It can tell you how long it would take to crack a password. So for instance, if I said, alright, I'm going to make this one, I don't know, sysadmin.2013, this doesn't change the password, by the way. It's just telling me how long it would take on a PC. So approximately 506,637,647 years to crack the password. So that would be a pretty good one. That's talking about brute force cracking. So we don't need to do anything there. Let's move on to the next section. User login. So what this does, login lockdown configuration. One of the ways hackers try to compromise is a brute force login attack, which is what I just mentioned, brute force. And basically what that is they have a big dictionary of passwords, and they just continually hit your login page with all these passwords, hoping that one of them's right. And this is all automated, of course. And if their automated program finds the right one, it stores it, and the next thing you know, your website's selling Viagra or something. So let's enable this. So it says maximum login attempts 3 before the IP address is locked out. The retry period in minutes is 5. So if the maximum number of failed attempts for a particular IP occur within 5 minutes, so if there's 3 bad logins within 5 minutes, it's going to lock the person out for 60 minutes. I generally increase that to 2 hours at the very least. So display a generic error message. Yes, we want to do that. We don't want to tell them exactly what's going on. And then notify me by email. Let's save that. So we've now got 20 points there. Failed login records. So this is just something that you can have a look at. If people have been trying to log in and have failed, it's going to show up there. The forced logout, we've got 5 points here. So we can enable a forced logout. So basically it's like what they call a session timeout, where if you haven't done anything in the admin area of your WordPress blog for this many minutes, it'll automatically log it out basically. So again, I might set that to 2 hours. Sometimes I leave mine sitting there and I come back to it. I'll save those settings. So we now have 5 points there. Account activity, so it's just shown me that I've logged in. At that time I haven't logged out yet, so yeah, that's just an activity link. Database security, so I've got 0 of 10 here. So this has changed the database prefix. Now some of these things you'll note were things that we did in part 3 with better WordPress security. It went through things like changing the DB prefix. So we definitely want to do that. It says it's currently using the default. Generate new, or check this if you want the plugin to generate a random 6 string. So we'll do that and we'll change it. And it's now saying changing 16 tables, blah blah blah. So if I now click on this again, there we've got our 10 out of 10 points, and we now have a different DB table prefix. So that's good. DB backup we've already been to, we've got our 20 points there. File system security. So we've got 0 at the moment. It's telling us what the permissions are of the various files, and what we can do here to get our points, I guess, is set the recommended permissions on here and on here, and there's our 20 out of 20. So we've got all the recommended permissions there. PHP file editing, disable ability to edit PHP files, makes sense. hardly anyone would want to do that, and the people who do want to do it would probably do it through FTP anyway. WordPress file access. Check this if you want to prevent access to the README, license and WP config sample. Again, these are ways that people can find out what version of WordPress you're running. So we'll do that. We've got our 10 points. Host system logs, well that's just to view the system logs, no points to be had there. Again, who is lookup, no points to be had there. Blacklist manager, so you can enable banning of certain IPs. Now, in order to activate that, you actually have to have a list of IPs, so of bad IPs. So what I did was go to an IP blacklist. Well, I put it in here anyway in Google, and then I found a website. Let's see, WordPress blacklist cloud. No, that's not what we want. Malicious IP list. Let's try that. Here we go. So there's Project Honeypot block lists. That's the one I went to last time. Emerging threats list. I actually went to the Zeus one. Zeus tracker block list. And look, these are just some IPs. This is more handy if you know a particular IP is trying to hack your website. But let's just grab this block list at the bottom, and all I do here is copy all of those. So these are known IPs that have been demonstrating some sort of malicious activity. I'll paste them in here, enable that, and save the settings, and we have our 15 points there. Spam comments IP monitoring, again no points to be had there. This is just a little bit of a list of some of the activity from spammer IPs. Firewall, plenty of points to be had here, so we do want to enable basic firewall protection and pingback protection, so let's do that. And as it says, it's check this if you're not using WP XML RPC. So if you don't know what XML RPC is, chances are you're not using it. And it just means that it'll enable protection against WordPress pingback vulnerabilities. You can get a little bit more info here about what sort of attacks that can protect against, and the same here. So good protection there. Additional firewall rules. So we want to disable directory and file listing. There's no reason anybody would need to do that. Check this if you want to disable trace and track. Yes, we do. Check this if you want to forbid proxy comment posting. Yep. This will help protect you against malicious queries via XSS. Definitely want that one. And this will block bad character matches from XSS. So we've ticked all of those. And we haven't got the points because we need to just click on firewall again. Into additional firewall rules. There we go, we've got our low points. Look, we've got a crap load of them there. 5G blacklist firewall rules. And this is some rules from a site that provides these. And it says it'll implement 5G security firewall protection, block forbidden characters commonly used in exploitative attacks, block malicious encoded URL characters, guard against common patterns and specific exploits, stop attackers from manipulating query strings. So this is all stuff that you want to protect against. So let's do that one. And again, we've got to just click on the firewall. Again, it's not refreshing the points the first time. So there we go. We've got our 20 points there. And brute force prevention. So again, they talk about it's where a hacker tries many combinations, blah blah blah. So we do definitely want to enable brute force attack prevention. And what this does is it actually changes where your login URL is. So you need to make sure you put this in there. Now I won't put a real secret word. I'll just put sysadmin so you can see what this does. The redirect URL. That's a good one, as they say in here, because it redirects them back to their own web page instead of putting more strain on your website. So that's good. I don't have any posts or pages that have password protection, so I don't need to do that. My site probably does use some Ajax, so I will tick that. So I've ticked this, I've put my secret word in here, and I need to perform the cookie test. First it tells me, and it says the cookie test was successful. I should have done that the first time, shouldn't I? So now I'll tick that, put my secret word in again, tick my Ajax and save the setting. And again I've got 20 points. So this now tells me that if I want to log in, this is where I'm going to log in at. sysadminfire.com/?sysadmin equals 1. Now I won't go to the login page, or will I? I guess we can do it in Firefox. Let's go there. Excuse the wrong size on the screen at the moment. I'm just trying to drag this window up here. Now, when you normally to log into a WordPress site like this, my sysadmin fire, I would go to wp-login, and of course this is where your potential hackers will try and get in as well. If I do that, look at that, it redirects to 127.0.0.1 as it says it would. If I instead do what it said to do and put ? sysadmin equals 1, then I get the login page. So that's quite a powerful thing. I mean, it basically means that unless they know this secret word, they're not going to be able to perform a brute force attack, which is terrific, because there were a whole bunch of those around a month or two ago. It was a very common thing. So we've got our 20 points there. The maintenance I haven't actually looked at. Enable front-end lockout. Alright, yeah, no, we don't need to change anything on there. So let's have a look back at our dashboard. And look at that, 260 out of 260. Everything's turned on. That's terrific. So we're now way more protected than we were before I installed this plugin. You can also get some system info on here, which says, you know, plugin versions, WordPress versions, all that sort of thing, the table prefix, cookie domain with the curls there, all that sort of thing, and then a little bit about the plugins that are currently installed. So there you have it. That is all in one WP security, and it looks like it may well end up being one of the leading security plugins and really quite easy to use.